You open Notion ready to get things done, but instead you're hit with this. A wall of text that makes you feel more overwhelmed than inspired. It's supposed to be a space for clarity, but right now it's just adding to the noise. We've all been there. What if your workspace looked like this? Or this? Or this, or this, or this? We can build a visually stunning dashboard that gets you excited to start your day. A digital command center that really truly feels like it's yours, something that you've built. This might seem out of reach, but it's way closer than you might think. So stick around to find out how we can do this together in this video. And here's the interesting part. When you actually like the design of your digital space, you're gonna be much more likely to actually use it. And ignore the curtain, the wind is coming in. So it's not just about making things pretty, it's about actually increasing your productivity and getting more done. So stick around as we take your cluttered workspace into streamlined, well-designed dashboards that work for you and help you get stuff done. We're gonna be taking it from step 1 for beginners all the way to the final step for more advanced Notion users. So whether you're just starting out with Notion or if you're already a seasoned pro, there's gonna be something in this video for you. All right, let's start with level 1, the foundation. These are the quick wins, the simple tweaks that you can make now that have the biggest impact. That means with low effort, you can instantly make your pages look better. So let's hop right into Notion. I have a freelancers hub here ready for you guys. This is just an example page. For example, if you're trying to get into freelancing and you want a way to structure all of this, of course, something like this will not work. It's scattered, it's messy, and it just does not look good. So the first things we're gonna do is go up here and click on these 3 dots to open the page settings. Then right at the top, you'll see the fonts. So Notion offers 3 fonts that you can choose from. And depending on what vibe you want to go for, you can switch between them. So you'll have a default font, you have a serif font, and you have a mono font. The serif font is more like academic and kind of like that type of vibe. The mono is more of a coder tech vibe, and the default is just your all-round font. So we'll stick with that. And there are more tweaks we can do here. For example, using small text will instantly make everything seem more professional, and it'll also give you more space. And finally, full width is so important. If you want to create those dashboard layouts that you see all over Pinterest and in the template marketplace, 99% of them will be using full width. So we're definitely going to want to include that just to have the space for our different blocks to breathe and for us to be able to build those layouts. Okay, so that's step 1, setting up your settings. That took us almost no time at all, and it's already looking a little better. Now, the next big thing you can do is add an icon and a cover. So we'll start by adding an icon, and because it's a freelancer hub, we might want to include something work-related. So let's see what happens if we put in business. You have briefcase like this is pretty cool. And then the cover, so Notion has the awesome ability to be able to search Unsplash for thousands or millions even of royalty-free images. So we'll look for something that fits there, maybe something like that. Awesome. Okay, that already gives us a lot more character and a lot more interesting design features and layouts, and it'll already start looking better. So we're doing great. So these were really just such simple steps that turned a bland page into something of an actual dashboard. But of course, there's a lot more to go, but we've already completed step 1. These are the simplest, easiest fixes you can do. And now we're gonna move on to step 2, the actual layout. It's time to become designers and try to fix this page. And the first thing we wanna get rid of is this wall of text that no one wants to see. So this right here is a video script, and it does not belong on your dashboard. We're gonna have to organize this and figure some system out for it. So what we can do here is look through and see if there's anything that we can use. I, for example, see a content manager here. We'll click into that and we'll see, okay, there's a nice content manager dashboard here. Very interesting. Let's just go ahead and pop in a new content here, and we'll call it a new video, and you'll see there's a place for a script here. So instead of having that on the dashboard, we can now drag this video script by clicking on these dots, moving that to our new video. So we can go and visit that again here, and you'll see that that has been dropped right in here. We can click and drag this up to the script section, and we now have the script where it's supposed to be and not just on the dashboard. All right, let's go back to our freelancers hub, and now we can delete this, and we already have some more space to breathe and use the system. So another couple of things that I've done, because this was actually a proper freelancers hub that I kind of messed up on purpose, which means that it just requires a little bit of reorganizing. For example, all of the pages could be added to the top to make it look cleaner. These ideas really don't need to be on the dashboard either. And then we might want to create a little menu for this so that these pages are just not bland in here. So what I love to do is use callouts, not only for calling certain texts out, but it's a great design tool because it allows you to add frames to your design. So what I love doing is just removing this icon, and then up here, I will press on Command B to activate the bold font, and then I'll also swipe over this and make it italic. Okay, so what I did here is just added a simple title by adding a space between every letter to add some flair to it, make it look a little different, make it stand out. And now I can take all of these blocks, drag them in here, and now we have a proper looking menu, which is pretty sweet, I would say. And now another thing we might want to do is, because we have all of this blank space here that's being used for nothing, would be maybe to drag the tasks from today up to here. All right, I'll drag this over a little. There we go. So now instantly, when you're up on your dashboard, you first of all see your menu with all of your different subpages and subsystems, and additionally, you'll see your tasks due today. Further on down, you'll see further tasks, and also we might want to add a divider. Dividers are great tools to use to kind of subsection off your dashboards. There you go, that looks awesome. So now you'll have your overdue tasks, your high priority tasks right here. We'll row them next to each other just because, once again, you want to use your horizontal space as best as possible, because there is a lot of space you can use here, and just having everything below each other is not the most efficient way to design a space. I kind of try to use all the space I have without making it too cluttered, and that's the real trick and the real skill behind Notion. If you can manage to combine those two things, the kind of like the intuitive design with not overcrowding it, then you'll have a really good setup going on for yourself. So down here, we'll just have some products and projects, and these two things are actually to-dos. So we will bounce them right into the to-do list by just clicking and dragging and dropping into there. So now we've cleaned the whole dashboard up. It's a lot cleaner and it looks a lot better. So one more tip actually is that to create a kind of like a visually cohesive design, I will in fact change this icon for a gray icon so that it's in line with everything else, and I'll probably add just this target, so you'll see that just looks better because everything has this similar design. So just to summarize that up, in case that was quick, you're going to want to use columns a lot. So by you create columns just by clicking and dragging something to the left or right of a block, like this, click, drag, drop, and you'll have 2 columns. I think you can do up to 5 columns in Notion, so you can really work with that and create different things. You could also create a menu where every page is next to each other like this. I'll show you what that would look like, something like this. You'll take these. So yeah, working with columns is an amazing tool just to create cooler layouts, for example, something like this. We'll reset that, there we go. Remember also to use callout blocks, not only to call out certain phrases in text and stuff, but use it as a design feature. Remember that it's a frame, you can add different colors to it, and it's an awesome tool to use for menus and different areas. You can even frame your entire calendar or project's timeline inside of a callout just to add a little bit more cohesive structure to your page. And then the final step, step number 3 for all you Notion pros out there, is to really use formulas and databases correctly. So I want to show you an example. Here I have a really simple financials database where you can add different income and expense items right here, and you can also set a monthly budget. You'll see that budget right here. Now, if you want a full-on designed dashboard, I can show you how I've upgraded this simple tool into something pretty amazing using all of the different database views, as well as charts and formulas to really take this to the next level. So once again, remember what this looks like. We're using only table views, and there aren't really many formulas here except to actually do some basic calculations. But let's take this to the next level, shall we? All right, we are now in a Finance Hub template right here. These numbers are not accurate, they're just invented. However, what I want to show you here is how we took this pretty basic looking table view financials dashboard into an actual fully blown dashboard. The way it's done is first of all using charts. Charts are only on the Plus plan and above, but I definitely recommend you to get that if you want to sign up for that. There's a link in the description below to get your Notion account up and running. Moving on, monthly figures, you'll see everything here is done with a formula. The divider line is a formula. The expenses is a formula. The revenue is a formula. So every number and everything is being calculated and then put into here in a kind of property. So I'll show you what that looks like. You'll see it right here. It's just a property. And when you go in, you'll see that I've used the style function to give the text a green background, make it bold, and also add the actual number with in green font, and there you go, that's the result. So there's a lot you can do here. It's a lot of fun to play around with this. And another example will be this. The budget is much more advanced than in the previous template that I showed you. So we have different areas now. And down here, you'll see some more margins, all-time earnings, all of sorts of fun things like that, as well as even more pretty fun formulas right here to calculate the percentage of reaching a certain investment or savings goal. So there's a bunch of things here, and the main point that I'm trying to make is use charts, use different views. And in a completely different example, if you want to track recipes in Notion, don't just stick with the table view, go take a gallery view and add some pictures of the food, and you'll certainly have a much nicer looking system. Wow, just look at that transformation. Thank you guys for joining. We went through so much today, and I'm really grateful that you watched until the end. So, just to recap, we turned our boring page into a better design and better layout by adding cover images, changing the layout, the fonts, the width, and all of that. And then we went ahead to actually convert the different blocks and lay them out and use callouts and use dividers to really create a coherent layout. And finally, we went and had a brief look at how formulas and functions, as well as different database views and charts, can really bring your databases and your dashboards to the next level. So if you found these tips helpful and you wanted to take a deeper dive into Notion, then remember to subscribe and hit that bell icon. I will be posting tutorials every week, so I'll catch you next week again. Bye bye.